My name is Joe Lemeris. I am the GIS and Data Manager for the South Carolina Heritage Trust Program, which is under the state's Department of Natural Resources. And in addition to managing the state's natural and cultural heritage preserves, the program is responsible for our database for rare, threatened, and endangered species and natural communities. So I'm really excited to give an overview about the projects we've been working on over the past year or so to improve upon how we collect, manage, and distribute data to stakeholders by leveraging these various components of ArcGIS Enterprise through the assistance of the Enterprise Advantage Program. And it really allowed us to act on this solution to a problematic workflow we were having historically. So for a brief bit of background, we did have some planning, of course, involved with this project, which revolved around a central workflow for the Natural Heritage Program, which is reviewing and commenting on development projects with respect to rare species found on site or nearby. Some of these are coming from environmental consulting firms, local governments, to understand impacts to species, and depending on the level of complexity, it could often take somewhere between 4 and 5 hours to respond to a single request. We responded to over 200 requests per year with about a staff of 1 on average doing that work. So from a consultant's perspective, the only really available data pertaining to this heritage data set has been static county lists, as you see here. These lists have been cumbersome to update since they were never really tied to any underlying data sets. And so this slow review process kind of stemmed from a few different issues that we were having. So there was a lack of standardization. Of course, requests were coming through the mail, email, different departmental programs, and there was no standard format to request this type of spatial information. So we were getting PDF maps, shape files, KML, Google Earth files, and just sometimes coordinates. We also had a lot of decentralized data in-house. Natural Heritage Program was not receiving data from all sections of our Department of Natural Resources, so there were silos of data all over the place, and that resulted in large backlogs to enter data into the data set and created longer entry processes and review times. We also had a problem with the lack of governance with this data. We weren't always sharing the data properly with stakeholders. We didn't have a system to determine which species location data would be considered sensitive, so to protect against poaching and disturbance threats. And we would often share entire data sets to consultants and other groups. This resulted in a diminished trust the program would have to be able to protect this sensitive data, and as a result was often considered out of date and not reliable. So we wanted to be able to improve all our data quality, protect it from any malicious intent, and at the same time allow users to have this improved access they need to do their jobs. So we had a few eureka moments. The tools we were using already with our organizational accounts could get us 80% or so of the way towards a more automated set of workflows. We needed some assistance. So luckily we had a partner that helped us out here with a funding source from the Department of Transportation. Of course, also has a vested interest in this data because they require access to a format and for their own projects. So they were able to grant us some funding to improve our program through working through data backlogs, upgrading to our ArcGIS Enterprise system, and enrolling in an Enterprise Advantage program. Enterprise was an ideal software for us because it allowed us to manage our data on local servers, publish reference layers, and then, of course, have access to all the various field collection methods. And all of this content could be packaged really nicely into a custom enterprise site, which allows our program to tailor how we want to experience, they want them to experience and interact with our data. So after almost a year of planning and configuring and testing, the resulting product looks pretty good. I think goal of the site was to be a one-stop shop for For all things natural heritage related, users can identify quick stats on tracked species, access public survey forms, and more. So we also enhanced our county lists, like I showed you earlier, by using operations dashboard, where we can select a county and identify species found within it, filter by status, and find more information on species through NatureServe's Explorer website. We were also able to monitor when users request access through the configured web application, where we can select pending requests, link out to assigned named users with appropriate permissions, and mark it as complete. This really allows for a peace of mind that the stakeholders, the right stakeholders, are assigned the right data for their needs. So we now have over 200 users accessing our natural heritage information across the state, federal, local, and private sectors. We converted our main method of data collections and submission to Survey 123 for a form standardized by using NatureServe's methodology. And users can now access this form in the field and submit data directly to the program with no need for any unnecessary repeat data entry. So once the submission occurs, data managers can then quickly identify new records, tag as pending, using app configured in that web app builder. And they can check to ensure the species is identified correctly by accessing photos and audio recordings, and mark it approved before they send on to the final database. Once that final database is updated, it's fed back into our reviewer web tool, which is designed with assistance from our Advantage program. The user can click to draw a project area on the map, or provide a shapefile for pre-existing project area data. Supplemental details are then entered, and an automated report can then be generated. To protect species, it's important to note that only non-sensitive species records are appearing in this map, while using a dedicated feature service, though if a sensitive species does appear nearby, they are referenced from the full data set in tabular format, so we can protect those species locations. What's produced is an automated report which was designed using layouts in ArcGIS Pro, including cover pages, tables of species found nearby and on site, and best management practices and survey recommendations based on whether the project is found near certain species, wetlands, soil types, and so on. And lastly, once a project is submitted, the appropriate staff are notified via email, and the project boundary information and supplemental information is populated in a dashboard, which tracks incoming requests by county, project type, and so on. So our staff can easily identify which projects have come in the last 30 days, filter by project type, and directly link to the requester's email to request further information as needed. We've already seen an uptick in the number of users submitting requests, taking advantage of the ease of use, and it's allowed our program staff to really focus on more high value projects with time saved manually from responding to reviews. So as of last week, we're now at over 200 project reviews, with still 5 months to go in the year, which speaks to the ease at which stakeholders and DNR staff are now able to get their work done. So now that we've acted on our GIS planning, we're in the process of going full circle back to understanding where to go from here, what works and what doesn't, what features can be enhanced. And we've started our second year of our Advantage program to begin planning to growing out some of these sites and build new ones for similar programs while maintaining some of the stuff that we've built in our first year. So with that, thank you very much.